Kwani live mara tatu? 3 2 live. 3 we are live. Kwani live mara tatu? 3 2. Alrighty, there you go. We are live. What's up? What's up? Lilian Nunderi. Yeah, that is true. Wewe ndo wa kwanza huku. Wewe ndo wa kwanza huku. Karibu sana from Saudi Arabia, Abaha City. Tabisa, Oga Obinna, looking good in a blue suit. I love what you're doing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mobla from Greece, Santorini. Hey, I've always wanted to come to Santorini. Bwana, kuna gunia ingine ya mtu ilifaa tukuje nayo Santorini. Akanifanyia ile kitu. So well, I guess I'm never coming to Santorini anytime soon. Ya unajua venye ukishapanga kitu na mtu alafu akafanya sasa tukipeleka mtu mwingine za huko zile huyu aje tupange na nyingine. Huyu mwingine anampeleka tu Kisumu. Bwana anasema something went wrong. What has happened? Kwenye kuko live? Kwangu kuko live, kwangu kume nini? Ama ni kwangu tu? Yako iko sawa? Oh. Maybe something went wrong. Acha ni reboot again. Imerudi. Mombasa represented, registering third in the roll call. Leonard Ochieng Mwai, karibu sana. George Harrison, Thika tuko ndani. Susie Davis, we are back. Charity Kemboi, leo sijachelewa. That's what's up. Zipi, we are back. Yasmin, Yaska, hi Babalola. Diana Chepchumba Obinna, our Mufasa from the lakeside. We have Carrison Momanyi, Sutile imeweza, asante sana. Thika tuko ndani. George Harrison, Stella Arabia, ndani. Winnie Jerop, hakuna kulala leo. Wewe jamaa kufagia, utafinywa. Wewe, huyu jamani kama anatumangwa, si ndio? Mume notice, we were eating, tumekula makuku, sikia. Like when we're just about to start a live, anakama kufagia. We were not even here for the last like 30 minutes, nini. Brother didn't think of sweeping. Chakade, umetumana huku tuharibie kipindi. Wanyonyi, Rinjoti, Fama, wacha kufagia bwana. Kuna mtu anaitwa Muneza hapo atakufanyia ile kitu. Mambo gani haya? Like we were not here, nothing was happening. I'm like, that's very interesting. Okay, Dr. Hannah from Juja, what's up? Thika tuko locked in. George Harrison, how you doing? Galfa Kondani, ASD, of course. Jocelyn Akinyi Langata, Kenzo Matata. Karibu my bro, karibu. Frida Kuria, nimekucheki. Jocelyn Akinyi, wale watu wa Langata. Atimurika wewe mfagiliaji tumuone. Woye, Jesinda. Jina wajua, ndio mumfanyie ile kitu. Wacha tu tuongee naye pole. Hiyo taina nikumbusha nikizunguka nikifanya kazi ya insurance. Oh my God. Wow. Ulikuwa na tai kama hii? Ukiuza watu cover. Yeah, maze. Hustle bro. Inabidi. Teresia Njue, very ready from Mambasani. Meshak Chirchir. Nimeshinda kutoka nje. I'm locked in. That's what's up. Bahrain iko ndani. Oga Obinna looking. Okay. It's okay. I know you don't need makeup because Jesus Christ is your foundation. But the thing is, filters remain constant. Gladys Njeri, tusipatane. I know where you live, man. From the UK, Obinna, shout out. Shadi Orioyo, what's up? How you doing? At anafagia 6 p.m. is not serious with the life. That is true. I was thinking the same thing, but well, hapa sio kwetu, sasa siwezi sema. Watu wanafagianga asubuhi. Na 6 jioni, alafu tena the whole night samagika. Alafu tena saizi ya juu, mdozi haezi ona. Kuna giza. But well, sikifagio ni yake. Michira Charles from Nanyuki niko ndani. Okay. Salimia Katrina, umwambia akuje Nanyuki aone bedsheet za chuma. Oh! Yo! Katrina, unataka kwenda kuona bedsheet za chuma? Katrina usikuange hivyo. Kuna bedsheet za chuma? Aki lines zimeimprove kwa street. That's interesting. Katrina finally ameonekaniwa. That's very nice. Katrina, enda ufanye mambo yako. Here from Kwale. I like your show, Bize Binti Mayugo. I don't want you to like it. I want you to love it. I want you to love it. But thank you so much. Wapi gift ya Valentine? We ni Morio, we perekesha wewe. Watching from Australia. Kitale tuko ndani, Irene Wamalwa, asante sana. Mfagiaji anataka afanyiwe live interview. Leonard, ya pia umemuona, hata mimi nimemuona. Vini always locked in, that's what's up. Salimia Jackie. Tony Sigilai, Jackie mgani? By the way, Jackie ile amekuja na dress nyingine. Mumeona? Jackie Ogaga. Ile hata si dress, ni trouser na ka flare ish. Naona mzee ameanza kumngoja vizuri. Faith from Meru ako ndani. Mark me present, Dana Mogiti. Aya, we have a decent number. Let us begin. We motivate, however, occasionally we get to have some conversations that are going to intrigue the way that you think about things or the way that you look at things in the society. All right, definitely, we are live from Samaki on Othaya Road. It's in Kileleshwa. Offers are running for Valentine's. Book before the slots get to run out. All right, book your slot before it gets to run out. Sound wanasema ilienda kwao. Nyinyi mko kama sound imeenda kwao? That you think about things or the... Andika sauti na mimi nasikia ni kama iko sawa. How do andika sound? Ni sound gani mnaulizia? Ama ni masauti? Ni Kenyan boy? Sikia Felista Zilima. Imerudi, slow down. Have you ever noticed? Okay. So this thing happens in life where people are normally very fast to point out the negatives, but when they see the positives, they rarely point them out. Like it just happens. That's the way it happens. I'm just letting you guys know of an occurrence that happens in life. For example, kama Caleb atakuja hapa amevaa smart for the next 1 year, we'll not even mention. One day atakuja na socks takuwa meraruka kidogo, hiyo ndio siku si tuta mention. Like human beings are like that. Even in your relationship, every day unafanya kitu kwa hiyo kimoro kimenyamaza tu. Ile siku tu umechelewa kuja home hivi kidogo na wewe. We mwanaume umekuwa loyal. Siku moja tu umecheat tu kidogo. Umecheat tu kidogo. As by the way. Oh, you've been cheating on me. Oh, men are dogs. You're like, no, why are you bringing other men in this? It's just me. Na hata sijakuwa nikifanya. Yeah, so it happens. It's an occurrence. That's why when we are good, rarely. But kitu sound tu kidogo. Sound down. Lip sync. Filters zangu zikitoka tu kidogo. Filters. Anywho, tuko live. Alrighty, so this one is going to be a very polite conversation. So we've introduced a couple of segments on the show, on Obinna Show Live. You're going to be seeing different ones coming. Like this one is a different segment that we've introduced on Obinna Show Live. Is a segment known as Health. So Obinna Show Live, we're going to be having health. We're going to be having politics. We're going to be having performance. We're going to be having business as well. Then now there's Obinna show live ile kawaida ile tu ya mshene nini, but kuna time tutakuwa na kana mtu hapa anaongea mambo ya biashara, hiyo itakuwa business. Kuna mtu anakuja mambo ya hospitali, health nini, usikule nini, ufanye nini, usikule nani, health. Okay. Kuna time tunaleta Rigiji hapa na Ruto hapa, tunakaa hiyo ni politics. Okay? So itakuwa hivyo. Kuna time performance, tutakuwa na kama hapa hivi unaona wasanii wana perform hapa hivi, pia itakuwa ni performance. So there's a couple of segments that are coming out through this year. You're going to be checking them out. Now for this particular one, of course, coming live from Semeki. Mbona mnaandika hiyo Semeki? Mbona mnafikiria ule jamaa ameenda? Yeah, this one is health, and I've invited a professional. So for the health category, we're going to be having professionals to help us tackle a couple of things. I think next week, if I'm not wrong, next week we might be having someone who will be tackling erectile dysfunction. Erectile dysfunction. Yeah, wale wasiawa. Hey! Yeah! Ay, hey! Ako hapo, hey! 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 Yeah! Unaona ndio hii umepewa like bako unaingiza kama kitambi. Okay, so we're gonna be having a professional who's gonna be tackling that, because on the show that I do known as Men's Problems, I've realized a lot of men have erectile dysfunction. Hata mademu alikuwa anasema chali yangu ako hivi afanye aje. Some people don't know. Some people are very young, but they're still going through erectile dysfunction situations. So we're going to be tackling that. We're going to be tackling issues like kuna wale wako na periods zile ziko very painful. Yeah, what happens in that situation? How can you get to remedy them? Kuna watu wako na hemorrhoids. Do you know hemorrhoids? Yeah. Kuna watu wako na hemorrhoids. We need to find someone to help them sort that one. Kuna watu wako na kiungulia. Kiungulia inaitwaje? Heartburn. Heartburn hiyo tu ni serious too, and even some ladies get a lot of it when they are having when they're on their menses. Akona heartburn too sana. We'll be having a professional tackle that one. Kuna watu akona ulcers. We're gonna be talking about what's the causes of ulcers, how can you maintain ulcers, and vitu kama hizo. We'll be talking about HIV. We'll be talking about gonorrhea. We'll be talking about pregnancy care. A lot of things on the health department. Business side, we're gonna be talking about how to start a business gani usifungue nini. We'll be bringing akina guys like what's the name of that guy? Ule anakuanga Lewin Ouya. Atakuwa anakuambia ni biashara gani tunaweza fungua, with which amount of money, usifanye nini, whatever and stuff like that. Also, we're going to be talking politics. What's happening? What's your MCA? What's your MP? What's your governor? What's your president doing? We're going to be sitting down with the panel. We're going to be having that. So, itakuwa inaendelea hivyo. Lakini Obinna show live pia bado itakuwa inaendelea tu venye inaendelea. Obinna show live is just Obinna show live. But now sasa kuna hizo zingine zinakuwa segments. Nancy Mukazivi, you talk too much, Obi. Thank you for reminding me. Imagine I had no idea and I don't even get paid to talk. Yeah, sorry, I apologize. I'll do better. Welcome to Jumanji. Kwani wewe amenijua leo? Unijui? But wewe meet Kemeu. Jamit Kemeu. I thought I talked a lot until I met Kemeu. Yeah. Alrighty. So moving on swiftly now, our guest for today is a professional, and we're gonna be talking mambo depression. Basically, we're going in the direction of mental health. Karibu sana, Linus Oyugi.
Asante sana.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Uko fiti?
Asante sana.
Your jacket iko sawa.
Thank you.
Iko mahali yake. Iko majuri. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Linus Oyugi. Your title?
Clinical psychologist.
Clinical psychologist.
Yeah.
Inamaanisha?
Clinical psychologist is a psychologist that works in a clinical setting, like a hospital. So we deal with assessing, diagnosing, and treating mental health conditions like depression, bipolar, and so on and so forth.
Oh.
Yeah.
So kuna psychologists when you see clinical?
Yeah. Kuna child psychologists, kuna forensic psychologists who deal with crime. Kuna school psychologists, kuna wide variety of psychology. It's an umbrella. Psychology is an umbrella term for different specialization. Just like you have medicine, where you have an orthopedic doctor, a dentist, and they all work under the umbrella of medicine, but they are under different specialties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mimi ni them girl, them psychologists. I major in in studying them goddams, you know what I'm saying? Like
They say that comedians are also psychologists because they kicheko ni dawa.
yeah,
It's
nimekwambia.
treatment, yeah.
Them goddamn psychologists. When them girls sit around me, kori ubache kangi huyu sijui nini, but ni sai ni Morio. But Katrina pale anakuanga mtu sawa. But karibu.
Asante.
Welcome to Obinna Show Live. Pamela, kuja userve mgeni jamani, umkaribishe. Hey, karibisha mgeni kwa kipindi, tumpatie hata kitu akunywe, ndio sasa mambo ingie, tuanze kuongea mambo health kidogo.
Why are you smiling? Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine.
You're good?
Yes.
I'm Pamela Aheli,
Nice.
server at Obinna TV. Just a minute.
Obinna Show Live.
So live, I'm sorry.
Nice to meet you,
Obinna
Pamela.
so live. What will you order
Just
for
a-
you to be served?
A glass of water. A glass
Glass
of water
of
will be
water.
fine.
Why are you nervous? Be conjure call. Can
Thank
you
you.
conjure yourself?
Huh? Atibi?
Conjure call. Huh? Isn't it?
No, you do your thing.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Just a glass of water.
Hey,
Will be
wow, I like your smile.
fine. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
like your smile too.
Okay, let me brought for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
This is why we need clinical psychologists around. If you know what I mean. If you don't get it, forget about it. Yeah. I'm seeing nini, nilikuwa nimeweka eye drop kwa macho na ni kama naiona.
Let me downfall it for you.
Thank you.
Huh?
Let me downfall it for you.
Downfall what?
Rain. When it rains, it falls. I'm falling water into it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Na si ubadilisha na jina yako. Umeona jita Sava. You're not as a Sava.
Have you ever seen such kind of this water?
Not before.
The bottle top?
Not before.
Is it okay? You want to test it?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Why are you afraid of me?
Not at all.
Okay, wait. You can drink this one if I give it to you. Is it okay?
Sasa Pamela,
You will call me, okay? Don't be afraid, isn't it?
Yeah, will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Careful.
Asante.
Okay.
Hi.
Thank you.
ni siku ya kwanza ya Pamela kazini. Ajui amupatie na chupa ama amweke kwa glass. Huyo ni form 1. Leo baada ya definition.
Kinako sawa kabisa.
Unajua hiyo kazi yake, kuna jamaa alikuwa anaifanya anaitwa Baba County. Sasa Baba County amesonga huko kwingine. Sasa huyo ameingia hapo, alafu kidogo mimi sitaki tumuite server. Unaona tumuite aje? As a clinical
Tumuite
jina moja kidogo.
labda professional server.
Professional server.
Anafanya kazi yake safi kabisa.
Yeah. But hiyo si professional. Hiyo server lazima ikuwe server.
Ama waitress.
Waitress. Pamela waitress? Yeah. Waitress. I think we'll... Korean? Gani? Kevo?
Obinna butler.
Obinna butler.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hiyo sasa inamfanya anakuwa too macho. Yeah, that's too much. Yeah. But we will figure it out. We shall figure it out. Yeah. All right, karibu sana. So we're here to talk about depression. Basically, I know there's in mental health, it's broad, eh?
Yeah.
It's broad. Unaweza tuchanua tu kidogo tu tujue hapo chini ya mental health kuna gani na gani na gani.
Oh, so we have over 300 different mental health conditions.
Over 300.
Yeah, over 300 different mental health conditions. According to a book that we call the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual
Okay.
for Mental Disorders, it's called, or the DSM, the Bible of Psychiatry.
Oh,
So
wow.
in the book, we've listed over 300 different mental disorders. Depression is one of them. And depression is categorized under mood conditions or mood disorders or affective illnesses because they affect your mood. Your mood is your answer to the question, how are you feeling? For example, Obinna, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling sexy, I'm feeling young, I'm feeling successful. I'm feeling single. Can I
No.
Yeah, because
So moods are about emotions you're
Okay.
feeling.
okay.
Yeah. So your mood is your answer to the question, how are you feeling? So depression is a mood disorder. It primarily affects the way a person feels.
Okay.
Yeah. So most people that have depression will report feeling low. I feel so sad, or I feel low. But another major symptom of depression is loss of interest in the things that you normally enjoy. For example, if you're a person that enjoys watching comedy,
Okay.
all of a sudden you don't enjoy. You watch comedy, but you don't draw any pleasure from watching comedy. Or you're a football supporter, but you don't find much pleasure in watching football. So those are the two major symptoms of depression. But there's other symptoms. In total, there's 9 of them. And for you to be diagnosed with depression, you need to have at least 5 of them. Any combination of the 9, I'm going to mention them, happening all day, almost every day for a period of at least 2 weeks. So that's how you distinguish between depression and feeling sadness
And stress.
and stress. Most people use the word depression flippantly. They use it to describe normal emotions, but depression is a serious clinical condition that can oftentimes be very debilitating, leading to some people also having suicidal thoughts. So symptoms of depression include feeling low, or loss of interest or pleasure in the things that you normally enjoy, sleeplessness, or what we call insomnia, or the opposite of that, which is hypersomnia, excessive sleep. So you can also sleep excessively or find it difficult to fall asleep.
Okay.
Some people may have increased appetite. You're eating a lot. So you're eating food as a way of self-medicating. Food is like medicine to you. Or some people may struggle to eat. So that can lead to either weight loss or weight gain. So if the weight loss is 5% more or less than your weight within a period of a month. For example, if you gain 5 kg or 5% of your body weight within a period of a month, or lose 5 kgs or 5% of your body weight, on average is about 5 kg of your body weight within a month, that should be concerning. But one of the most serious symptoms of depression is suicidal ideation, where you're having thoughts of wanting to die or thoughts of killing yourself. So depression is when you have any combination of the symptoms any 5 of the 9 symptoms that I've mentioned, a combination of 5, any of them. Sleeplessness,
over
or under, appetite, over or under. And then there's others that I've forgotten to mention, like chronic feeling of emptiness, or excessive feelings of guilt.
Feeling of guilt.
Feeling very guilty, sometimes with no cause. You're just feeling excessively guilty. Umekosea mtu, umekosea Mungu. And then we've mentioned suicidal ideation as a very serious symptom that is on the high, especially among men. So a combination of any of the 5 of the symptoms, they're about 9, happening all day, almost every day for a period of at least 2 weeks. So that is now what we categorize as depression.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's interesting. There's categories over 300 of depression, of mental illness.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want us to now measure on depression, because now this one is now where most young people get into. Now, we have bipolar, nini, hizo staki tuingie kwa hizo.
Yeah.
Let's just focus on depression.
Yeah.
So how do we explain depression in simple terms?
Depression, talk about definition or what causes it?
Yeah, the definition.
Depression, by definition, is a persistent feeling of lowness or depression. So feeling depressed or feeling low.
Okay.
So when you're feeling low or depressed for a specific period of time that I've mentioned, at least 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
But then the symptoms have to persist almost all day, almost every day for a period of at least 2 weeks. And lastly, the symptoms have to be significant enough to cause impairment in the daily functioning. For example, if you're a comedian, when you're depressed, you may struggle to actually perform on a stage if you're a stand-up comedian.
Okay.
So your symptoms, for us to diagnose a person with depression, we must demonstrate that the symptoms are severe enough to cause significant impairment in the day-to-day functioning. For a child who's going to school may struggle with schoolwork. You've mentioned performance issues in bed. Something like erectile performance related erectile dysfunction may be a secondary symptom of depression. So a lot of men may struggle in bed not knowing that it's actually depression that is causing the issue. Yeah.
So si saa zote tu ufikirie labda ni nini, kume uko tu depressed.
Yeah.
Ndio mashini ya Yamuki.
The machine
Wewe unafikiria wamekuroga. Wamekuangalia vibaya. Okay. Now, let's look at the roles of family, friends, work environment, and also our nutrition with depression. How do this mix?
They all mix and they are all significant.
Okay.
So there's no non-single cause of depression. What we talk about are risk factors. You failed to mention one thing, which is genetics. Genetics is the most compelling reason as to why somebody may have depression. For example, twin studies indicate that if one set of an identical twin has depression, the other twin has a 70% chance of having depression. So if you take one twin, if two twins, a set of twins is born today, you take one and take them to Timbuktu, and one grows in Madare. And they're under different environment conditions. They went to different schools, different socioeconomic status. So genetics alone will make them. If one of them has depression, genetics alone will make the other person or the other kid to have a 70% chance of developing the condition. So we don't have a single known cause of depression, but depression is normally caused when there's an interaction of different factors. For example, there's a genetic predisposition, and then maybe the child went through an adverse life experience like child sex abuse when they were young, or they grew up under very, very difficult economic situations, or just things happening. So it's usually a combination of different things. Another reason as to why somebody might develop depression is due to personality issues. So the way you are as a person could actually make it more likely or less likely that you develop depression. For example, I'll just give you an example. There's personality factors that we call the ocean, or the 5-factor personality types. Ocean, O means openness to experience. C is conscientious. You seem to be very conscientious. Conscientious is somebody who's meticulous. Mwenye anafanya kazi yake vizuri, anapanga mambo yake sawa. E is extroversion. You seem also to be very, very extroverted. Somebody who's very good with people, is outgoing, and so on and so forth. So there's one personality type that is called neuroticism. And the last is ocean. It's an acronym N. Neuroticism is trait negative emotion. And women are more likely to have high neuroticism than men. And that's why depression specifically tends to affect women more compared to men, because women on average are high in trait neuroticism. You may find men who are also high in trait neuroticism, and they're also going to be very, very susceptible to depression. Neuroticism, I'd also repeat, is the trait that makes you more likely to experience negative emotion. Something bad happened, maybe depending on who you are and your personality type, you may experience it more compared to other people.
Kuna tule tumefuranga tu.
Yeah.
But
Neuroticism.
Career. Are you neurosis? Kimuda kichekangi tu. Unashindanga, so most of the time when something happens, it affects them more than us.
Yeah.
Because as we laugh about it, imeisha.
Yeah.
You know. Amekasirikanga tu saa zote. Kulugu amekasirika nini?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But you've mentioned environment before.
Yeah.
Something that I really must mention.
Yeah.
Environment is also very, very key, like the atmosphere within which you grow. And as you know, that the average person today, within just one day, is exposed to more negative information than somebody that lived 100 years ago was exposed to the entire lifetime. So within just one day, the amount of negative information that you're consuming is much more than somebody that lived 100 years ago was exposed to their whole life. Okay. Why? Because we have social media, and you're constantly consuming news from Israel, children being bombed in Gaza, or Ukraine. About 2 million people have died since the war began, and the economic situation everywhere in the world. So you constantly, the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning is that you take your phone and you want to read the news. So that is not healthy. Our brains were not wired to live like that. And that seems to be affecting us in terms of making us more susceptible to depression. We're also sleeping less. You remember, we lived a majority of our life in the jungles, in the forests, as hunters and gatherers. We didn't have artificial light. So when we developed artificial light, like electricity, we extended our wake time. So we're sleeping less. And we know that when you don't sleep enough, you require an average of between 7 to 8 hours of sleep every day as an adult. 7 is enough, but 7 to 8 hours of sleep is crucial. So the quality of your sleep could also be linked to your likelihood of developing depression. So those are lifestyle things. And you've also mentioned a diet. So be very, very careful what you eat. A study actually came out just last year that found that eating French fries or chips is linked to depressive symptoms. So, yeah.
Tuzipite na machipo.
Punguza.
Machipo zote. Oh, wow. Oh, that's interesting. Let's talk stigma. What role does it play in depression?
It plays a huge role. Stigma is like the mark of the Cain in the Bible. Stigma makes it impossible for people to talk even about depression. And one of the biggest barrier for receiving mental health care is people just don't talk about it. For example, men in Africa are socialized to be self-reliant. When wanaume kufa kiwewe kaa ngumu kana shida zako. So that is what we call stigma. So men are less likely to actually open up about what they're going through. And that's why it doesn't surprise me when the rates of suicide among men is 3 times that number of women, when actually women attempt suicide more than men. So women are more likely to think of suicide, women are more likely to attempt, but men are 3 times more likely to actually die by suicide compared to women. Men are 3 times more likely to die by suicide compared to women. And part of the reason, part of what explains that is the societal stigma. And I think having a conversation like this one is what actually helps to break the stigma, when we normalize conversations about mental health.
Okay.
Yeah. Other families hide their children from the society because they're afraid that if there's it would bring embarrassment to their family because of certain symptoms, depression or like autism. So that is a huge barrier to people actually going to get treatment, and treatment is very readily available.
Is depression preventable?
Yeah, depression is indeed preventable. For example, I mentioned that a compelling reason as to why a person may develop depression is genetic predisposition.
Okay.
So if you come from a family where there's history of depression, then you automatically should know that you must avoid certain things, like alcohol. Alcohol can act as a trigger when there's already a genetic predisposition. So if you're careful, and if you come from a family where there's history of depression, being careful with what you do, like making sure that you don't partake in alcohol or drugs or you drink responsibly, could significantly reduce your chances of either ever developing the condition.
Yeah.
But it's not curable. There's no treatment, there's no medicine that we can give you that will completely get rid of the symptoms. They're actually very, very effective. The third generation psychiatric medications, they're extremely effective, especially in combination with psychotherapy. What I offer talk therapy, but we work very, very closely at Chiromo Hospital Group. We work closely with psychiatrists. So the medicines are used, they manage the symptoms.
Okay.
So a person that has depression, when they are on medication, not all of them, we don't put all of them on a medication. Some we just manage on psychotherapy. Talk therapy alone is enough for some of them, depending on severity. So when you're on treatment, you live like any other person because your symptoms go into remission. So you don't display any symptoms of depression. Your sleep is taken care of. Your appetite is taken care of.
Okay.
The thoughts of suicide are addressed. And you're able to function just as any other person in the society. And you can't really tell the difference between a person that has depression and somebody who doesn't have depression. Yeah.
Unaweza jua ikikam?
Yes and no. As a person, you can know. You can know.
So feel depression ikikam?
Yeah. Although not everybody that has depression will actually know that they have depression. Oh. There's something in mental health that we call anosognosia. I'm sure you'll write it on the screen so that people can look it up.
Anosognosia.
Yeah. Anosognosia is insight. Some people that have a mental health condition will have insight, so they will know that I am not well. But some people may actually not know that they're unwell, so they may actually blame everybody in their environment, but they are the ones that actually have a problem. Okay, so you can know if you have insight. Actually, what part of our treatment process is to help people who don't have insight to develop insight, because insight is absolutely crucial for individuals who want to recover from mental health challenges. So you can know if you have insight, but other people may not be able to know when they don't have insight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, now you've known that you are depressed.
Yeah.
What do you do? What's the go-to action?
Okay, so you can know, but you cannot diagnose yourself. You can't diagnose yourself. So you can know.
Mimi na Felistas kidogo.
Unaweza soma mawingu ikwambie hapa mimi siko sawa, dalili haiko sawa. Look, but you're not a prof. Even I myself as a psychologist, I don't have the right or the power to diagnose myself. So if you suspect that you have depression or you're going through depression, you need to seek help from a qualified practitioner. So you must. So that's why we're here. As Chiromo Hospital Group, we are a private level 5 psychiatric facility. We have 5 branches in Nairobi and in Mombasa, and you can reach out. So you get a formal diagnosis, and then you're given an elaborate treatment regimen that will help alleviate your symptoms. Although sometimes you may actually suspect that you have depression, you go to see a psychiatrist or psychologist, but they tell you that this is not depression. This is something else. This is life circumstance.
Ulishika tao last lini? Tiata miss jushika tao. Depression imeenda.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So even me, I can't tell that Kevo is depressed.
You can't, because you're not. You're not. You may suspect, and if you suspect, you should take action because you are a friend of Jerry or Mosh. So just tell them that reach out. There's ways that you should reach out. You should also be careful how you reach out. Maybe not at work in front of everybody, because people are less likely to talk about their mental health challenges in company of people.
Okay.
But suggest a few places they can visit so that they can get a formal or official diagnosis.
So nisi point out mtu hapa.
Yeah.
Wewe Munez, wewe uko depressed. Wewe enda kwa nini?
No, don't call people names.
So nisite mtu jina niseme tu wewe.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Aya. A lot of people have no idea akikuwa depressed anaenda wapi. So can we mention a few? Ama ni yenyu tu ndo uta mention?
Uta mention yetu, lakini I can also mention a few because I'm a Kenyan.
Okay.
If you're in Nairobi, of course, Chiromo Hospital Group should be top of the list. We are the best.
Hospital
we are not just the best in the country, but the best in the region.
Okay.
That's a fact.
Okay.
We provide dignified quality mental health care in Africa. So if you come to a facility, you might actually think that you're in a hotel because we are bringing dignity back.
I went to the one in Nini. Up the road
in Lavington,
or next to
Federal
House.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got in. Ilikuwa kama hoteli.
Yeah.
Me doesn't tell that. Yeah.
Yeah, mentally ill people deserve to be treated in a dignified environment where that. Remember, we've talked about stigma. One of the reasons why people don't go to seek healthcare is because of what they know of how mentally ill people have been historically treated. So actually, mentally ill people are more likely to be victims of violence than perpetrators. We are afraid of them, but we are actually the people who meet violence upon them. So they're more likely to be victims of violence than perpetrators. And they are people, they're humans like yourself and myself. I may have depression and you don't know. Okay. So you can come to Chiromo Hospital Group. We have a branch in Lavington, in Mudangari Road, number 37. We have another branch in Westlands. And we also have an office in Upper Hill where I'm currently based. And about 2 years ago, we opened a branch in Nyali, Chiromo Hospital Group Nyali branch. Okay. There's other options in Kenya, like Mathare they've improved their services to a significant degree. It's quite good. Okay. Most of the psychiatrists that we work with at Chiromo Hospital Group also work at Mathare Hospital. Kenyatta National Hospital is also quite good. Okay. Oasis is also a hospital specialized in mental health that people can look into.
Why do people think mtu akikuanga na mental health situation wanafikirianga tu huenda wazimu? You know, that is why even people are afraid to go to see therapist. Like unaambia ni aje, so you go see because of your mental health situation. Ai, mimi si chizi. Mimi ni chizi. Unanita chizi mimi.
Yeah.
Why do people always react like that? People think mental health is just kuchizi too.
It's because I'd blame it on the way that we've had the conversations over the years. That we even me, I remember when I was young and I did something naughty at home, my parents would threaten me with taking me to a psychiatric facility. Yeah? So it's the way that we've been socialized. Okay. And also pop culture has not really done a good work with mental health. When you see a mentally ill person in a movie, they're more likely to be in chains or doing something crazy. and we believe that that is the face of mental health or mental illness, but that's not true. It's only a tiny percentage of what mental health actually entails.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anastasia Ngovo anauliza jaba inaweza reduce depression.
That's a good question, Anastasia. Most of the drugs that we partake in, including alcohol and nicotine in cigarettes, we use them as a form of self-medication. So they actually do something for us. But the problem with using jaba or alcohol is that they may have negative effects that outweigh the momentary positive effect that you get. Okay. So if you drink alcohol or smoke cigarette, you're going to get a temporary high. But then if your problem is due to maybe your financial management skills, the problem is you're going to wake up tomorrow in the morning and you face the problem. You haven't done anything to the problem. Yeah, so there's too many negative consequences of using a stimulant like jaba or mogoka or mira that if you're thinking of using it to treat depression, I'd strongly advise against.
Yeah.
You may get a temporary reprieve, but it doesn't really address the core of the issue.
No.
And that's what we work very, very hard every day at Chiromo Hospital Group to help people manage.
How can a family come through? Family, friends, for someone who's into depression, someone who's depressed, clinically proven?
The single most predictive factor for happiness is the number of deep and meaningful connections that you have around you. We're actually having an epidemic called the loneliness crisis. I'm sure you've heard of it, where both men and women are reporting loneliness at record rates. Men, it's only a third of men that can report that they have one single close friend. Most men that I speak to, if I asked them, I actually had a session with a couple of men today, and asked one of them, do you have a best friend in your life? And they say, no, I don't have. And that's something that I found very, very common in therapy. Men do not know how to keep relationships. And that's why actually even after a breakup, men really struggle because they struggle to
anadilnao
peke yake, and then they can't really, they don't have the skills to build relationships much quicker, and women tend to do well. So being there, just being physically present, offering a crying shoulder to your friend could be a significant a step in the direction of them receiving help. Like I said, the most predictive factor for happiness is the number of deep and meaningful connections that an individual will have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lavender Alco is asking about anxiety. How can you sort it and how does it tie into depression?
Now, anxiety and depression are two of the most common illnesses in the world. These two conditions are so common that most of us, before we die, will have at least one depressive phase or one anxiety phase. So they're so common. Okay. So there's depression and anxiety, we categorize them as highly comorbid conditions. When a person has depression, they're also quite likely to also have anxiety. So the two conditions that highly occur together. And the treatment is very, very different. Anxiety ni hali ya wasiwasi. And sometimes uko na wasiwasi with no reason. So it's not something that you can deal with.
I get it sometimes. Ile na feelingi. Ushavilika ufanya makosa na ndomu kuchapwa.
Yeah.
So kuna time I feel, I'm like, why am I feeling? I'm like, kwani nimekosea nani? And it just comes.
Yeah, it's probably stemming from your childhood of being punished when you did something wrong.
Yeah.
And when you go to therapy, you actually find out what's the root cause of your anxiety. That's one reason of actually.
Wewe wata kuni-cancel wewe. Wata kunitumia kama specimen kwa kipindi. Mimi guys, I got my shit together. By then I need to go find a therapist.
Did you know that depression is also very common among comedians?
I know. And also I know that it also metamorphosizes as happiness.
Yeah, it does.
If you're over happy, you're just laughing ovyo nini. Kuna watu wanakuanga una overcompensate.
Yeah.
Ama sometimes you're hyper, sometimes I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been in the streets. Yeah.
It's a coping mechanisms for some comedians. They use it to cope because of feelings of deep. I'm not saying that that's you.
But majority of us are actually depressed, and then now we have this mask.
Yeah.
We make you happy, we do whatever. When we switch off whatever, we go back to our spaces. Even any comedian suicide. Yeah. Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And he's like a god in the comedy space.
Yeah, he's quite good.
Yeah. Not quite.
Extremely
very good. Munez. Oh, wow. Okay. So anxiety, how do you deal with anxiety?
Of course, you have to be diagnosed first with an anxiety disorder. There's many anxiety disorders.
Anxiety disorder?
Yes, there's actually many anxiety. One example is social anxiety. You've heard of people who can't, are not able to handle social situations. Like having stage fright, extreme stage fright. You can't speak in front of people. You can't eat in front of people because you're constantly aware of people staring at you, which may not be true.
Mechangamuka sana TikTok.
So first of all, anxiety. We need to differentiate between a normal emotion or a normal feeling, which is anxiety. Anxiety is actually normal and it's good. But there's anxiety disorder, which is an extreme level of anxiety that is maladaptive. For example, if there's a snake on the floor, you should feel anxious because that snake could bite you and you could die. So it's a defense mechanism. It's something that is inbuilt into your nervous system that either makes you fly or flee or fight the danger, and that is anxiety. Okay. But anxiety disorder is extreme fear, is extreme anxiousness that would require diagnosis. Sometimes you might be put on medication. That because anxiety activates your nervous system. You may have increased palpitation, you may sweat profusely, you may see red, and these are symptoms that may be treated with medical intervention. Something else that can be done in anxiety is psychotherapy, talk therapy. You can have a fear of flight, of heights. If you have a fear of height, is it called aerophobia or something of the sort? So how do you treat that? You treat a person that has a fear of heights by training them that height might not be dangerous always. So there's something called VR therapy, where you can wear headsets and you're taken to a virtual, very tall building, and they increase the level of the heights progressively. So in a virtual environment, you can be trained to be less fearful of anxiety-inducing situations. So it could be a combination of both psychotherapy and medication.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mimi yangu ya height sioni nikitoboa, but it's fine. Mimi hata ndege mpaka saa hizi bado naogopa, but it's fine. Faith is asking the connection between depression and brain tumor. Do the two connect?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a brain tumor, it's oftentimes it can be a terminal illness. So you're probably not going to be alive for a long time. So that knowledge in itself can induce feelings of depression.
Okay.
Yeah. So in that manner. So we have people that are chronically ill, that are terminally ill, are also highly likely to also be suffering from depression because of the intense emotional situation, also physical pain that they go through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is stress eating a symptom of depression? Miss Imelda, wewe umekam class late. Yeah, nyinyi mmekam class late. Hata kuna mtu ameuliza story ya kugain weight. Nyinyi mmekuja class late. Muta repeat tu pole pole, mtaona hizo tulikuwa tumesha tackle. Okay. Ati mtu juaje ako depressed. Wewe Rebecca pia umekam class late. Yeah, hizo zote tulikuwa tumesha tackle. Yeah. I have very bad anxiety attack. Could that be why my hands and legs shake? I don't drink at all. That is Mercy Karegi. Kotu hapa?
Yeah.
Cheza ndombolo. Okay. But if it's recurrent, then it's bad. But the anxiety is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the normal one. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Obinna, marry me. That's good anxiety right there. Lakini tu Obinna, Korir, Onesma, sa awenda upimwe. Okay. Asking about stoicism. Come on, man. Sasa hii sasa inaingililia wapi? No. Stoicism, I think, sijui nimejibu hapa niwache. Gladys, does stoicism even apply in the nini? But it helps you avoid problems. Stoicism basically helps you avoid problems. If it's beyond your control,
yeah. But everything that is good has an extreme. If you're extremely stoic in situations where you should react, then that can be a bad thing.
That's a bad thing.
Yeah, but stoicism has actually been attributed to the reason as to why men suffer from suicide at a high rate compared to women, because men are socialized to be more stoic and self-reliant. So unlike women, they're they're socialized to, they're generally socialized, not all women are generally socialized to express their emotions, to cry out for help when they need help.
Okay.
So stoicism is something that is
a
like a double,
combined
it's a double-edged sword. It's good in certain situations. If you're a boxing, if you do boxing, you should be stoic. You should be able to be calm and not allow your emotions to overpower you, and you're more likely to win if you're stoic. If you're more in control of emotions. Yeah.
By that thing you've said about men, even who are stoics, going on that side sana inakuanga zile za it is what it is.
Yep.
Ishafika hapo sana baranga zile haya, what's the next available?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Shish, antidepressants, do they really help?
They do help. They do help to a significant, and we have very good third generation antidepressants or psychiatric medication that are extremely helpful, with a success rate of upwards of 60%, and 60% in health is extremely good. Upwards of some are much higher than that, but for treating depression, the best treatment modalities when you combine both medication and talk therapy, because medication will only help with the chemical imbalances. But a depressed person may also have negative thinking patterns. For example, a person that blows things out of proportion, with something that we call catastrophizing, that person is more likely to be depressed than a person that is, like you said, stoic, somebody that is able to rationally analyze situations and blow it out of proportion. So talk therapy will help you get out of that negative thinking pattern, while the medication will help stabilize the chemical imbalance in your brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Velma, what about talking to yourself?
Talking to yourself? She's asking whether that helps.
No, kama you new.
Or is a symptom of mental illness?
Yes.
Yes and no. I'll say yes when it is occurring in a cluster of other symptoms. For example, you're talking to yourself, but you're also hearing voices, or you're seeing things that other people cannot see. So or maybe you're also disorganized, you're not showering, and you're sleep talking at night, or you're also physically violent. So when it's appearing in a cluster of other symptoms, then that should be of concern. But talking to yourself is normal. You see children talk to themselves all the time when they're playing with their toys, right? There's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, it's a form of healthy thinking. When you're externalizing your thoughts, it's helping you organize whatever that you're doing. So talking to yourself can be a symptom of mental health issue if it's occurring within a cluster of other symptoms. But generally, usione mtu anaongea peke yake kwa barabara udhani ati there's something wrong with them. They could be just stressed, and it's a way of them externalizing their stress, and that is actually healthy. That's why we encourage people to talk, because you're externalizing it, and in that situation, it's not a problem.
Labda ni OG anapitia mistari.
Yeah.
Julius Yego. Lee Kenyan, ask this question. How do you help a brother depressed due to a breakup about 5 years ago? Hey, for 5 years.
5 years ago seems like a long time.
That's a very long time.
I think get them professional help as early as you possibly can. Grief is complex, and there's no amount of time, stipulated amount of time for grief. But 5 years sounds like a long time, and they should have been able to move on. It's actually generally agreed in mental health that you should be able to at least put it behind you to a significant degree where it's not affecting anything in your life by after 8 months. After 8 months, you should be able to when I'm talking about specifically breakup, something that is generally agreed upon in mental health. It's not scientific, but generally agreed upon.
8 months?
8 months.
Yangu ilipeleka 2 years?
Ulimpenda sana.
Akwende. Mwende huko. Tutukudu zao. Oh, wow. Hey, na nyinyi mmekuwa na mashida tu hivi na mmenyamaza tu mnajifanya mko normal. But nimekuwa nikiona comments zenyu and I knew we were not okay. I've been seeing the way you guys talk sometimes hapa. I knew there's a problem. Maswali zinakuja hapa mingi sana. Huyu Sheze official anasema even me, I'm talking to myself. I'm asking myself, where can I get $1 million without working? Okay. But you have people who talk when they are sober. You have people who talk to me how to cure depression. We've spoken about those ones. I also do sweat a lot. Hiyo kusweat sometimes ni normal, but ikisonga sana ona daktari, si ndio?
Yeah.
Kusweat sana kama umelala usingizi. About grieving, when I see a photo or remember something. But hiyo ni saa inafanyikanga. Even when you listen to certain songs, they take you to some spaces. Yeah, hiyo si nini. Kim's TV, I'm always afraid of talking to people, especially ladies, and even when I have a problem, I prefer suffering alone than talking to anyone. Could that be having anything with depression?
It could or it could not, but I'd like to hear more so that I can make a determination. And that's why I'd recommend for Stevie to reach out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ask about psychotic drugs.
Psychotic drugs, you've heard of people that hear voices and see things that other people cannot see. So that's what we call psychosis, when you're out of touch with reality. So you may see things, hear voices. So psychotic drugs are, not actually psychotic drugs, antipsychotic drugs, because anti meaning treating or against the psychosis.
Yeah.
So those are the drugs that specifically handle that kind of mental health condition.
Unaanza kusikia vitu.
Ukisikia inakusaidia. Yeah, very, like the current medication that we have is extremely effective.
Okay. Lavender is asking, overthinking, is it bad when it's frequent?
Yeah, overthinking is also a sign of anxiety. Anxious people tend to overthink. Like I've mentioned, blowing things out of proportion,
Okay.
reading into situations too much. It's nothing wrong with overthinking. As a matter of fact, overthinking in a normal situation is your brain trying to analyze. You're in a crisis situation. Your brain is trying to use all the information from the environment to analyze the problem so that it can come with a solution. But like you said, everything that was made to be adaptive, when it's excessive, when it's affecting your ability to sleep, it's affecting your relationships, you can't eat because you're overthinking, then that's a concern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone also is saying, what is the cause of talking to yourself and assuming you're with someone? Inanisumbua. That's Rebecca Mutinda. Nakwanga peke yake tu ana assume akona watu na anapiga nao story.
Like I said, Rebecca, if it's happening and you're doing it and it's relieving to you, and it does not occur with other symptoms. For example, unajiongelesha alafu pia unasikia sauti, ama unaona huyo mtu mwenye una imagine unamwongelesha, unamuona mbele yako, then that could be a concern. But if you do that and you're okay with that, and then you're not also feeling very embarrassed when you're caught by somebody, and sometimes also when you feel like it's out of control, when you've tried very, very much to control it but you can't, then that should be a concern. Any normal pattern of behavior, you should be able to manage it. You should be able to turn it off and on willingly. But if you can't turn it off, then that could be a concern. Yeah.
Okay. Von Riley, do you believe in demonic attacks, and can madness be related to spiritual matters?
That's a good question. At Chiromo Hospital Group, we remain within the confines of science. So our treatment is evidence-based. But we do understand that there might be other things that we may not be able to handle, or science does not explain it as the current science is. And we work very, very closely with the clergy. As a matter of fact, we work with All Saints Cathedral. Okay. And we also offer spiritual counseling within our psychiatric hospital.
Okay.
So we don't see it as something that we can treat, but when we encounter something that is genuinely spiritual, according to maybe our determination, we refer appropriately. And we also get a lot of men of clergy or men of the cloth referring patients to us.
Yeah.
When they see that this patient is actually suffering from an actual mental health condition and they can benefit from medication, they do refer to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lydia Andeo, what is cyclothymic disorder, and is it related with depression?
Yeah, depression is unipolar. You remain in one state of mood, which is feeling depressed for a period of time. So you're depressed. Cyclothymic disorder is a type of bipolar, where you have periods of high, what we call mania or hypomania, and then that is often followed by a low period, which is called depression. So a person that has bipolar may have those violent mood swings from extreme high to extreme low. Cyclothymia is a type of bipolar disorder. It's the third type of bipolar disorder.
Okay. Yeah. Daniel Kioko, nimekuwa na headache for a long time, like 3 years. Uliza hivi can maybe depression na sijui.
What we do is that when somebody comes with a complaint in a psychiatric hospital, this is why I actually say Chiromo is the best, because we work with physicians, we have nurses, we have partnership with other specialties. So we may come with a complaint like headache, and you may think that it's depression, but we also do test to rule out the possibility of some other things happening. So we may do other brain scans and so on and so forth. So you may have depression, a headache as a symptom of depression, but it could also mean other things. Something else could be happening to you, like you mentioned, brain tumor.
Yeah.
So we'll do all tests to rule out any other thing so that we narrow down to the actual cause.
Okay.
Yeah. So you may actually visit if it has happened for that long.
Okay.
Visit us and we'll figure it out together.
Watoka na mashida hapa. Lois Njoki. Obi, what of the time unajaribu kulala ukifunga macho unaanza kuona mavitu? Ukigeuka unaona mavitu. Is it hallucination or anxiety?
That's a good question. So we need to understand what hallucination is. Hallucination is when you're awake, like you right
Unaona hapa
now.
koridu watatu.
Hawako, you're seeing something that is not there.
That's hallucinating.
That is hallucination, and that is a symptom of psychosis, being out of touch with reality. Lakini kuna zile hallucinations that happen when you're drifting into sleep, and then when you're also drifting out of sleep. They're called hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucinations. So those are considered to be within normal range. So it's not unusual for somebody who's drifting into sleep to perceive things in the environment that are not there, or even imagine things in the head that are not there. It's not considered to be within the boundaries of mental illness. Okay. But although I would say is that if it's persistent and it's causing significant emotional upheaval, or you're not feeling well and it's significant, every day, all day, it's affecting your life, then you might need to speak to someone about it. Reach out.
Enda kwa Pastor Nganga.
Yeah.
Watu wana complain wanasema nikwambie you try and use English ya primary English, hii English ya English aid inawapita. Yeah. Alrighty, so there you have it from the gentleman over here. So we've tried to talk about depression kidogo. Linus Oyugi in the building. We might be having him back again next time for more questions going that direction. Leo tulikuwa na focus on depression. Then next we might focus on bipolar. Then now we focus on something else. Pole to as we figure out ways to make the world a better place for all of us. All right. For more information about depression and also mental health, you can reach out to him directly. Are you comfortable giving your email?
I'll give a hotline.
Hotline, yes, yes, please.
Our hotline is 0800
0800
22
800 22
00
00
00
00
0800 22 0000.
So wale wanataka kwako waseme tunataka
Linus, yes.
Yeah, but pia ukifika hapo utapata many other professionals as well.
Ama hata unaenda kwa website, tuko na zile tunaita self-report questionnaires.
Yeah.
Zile maswali unajibu tu, alafu hiyo questionnaire yenyewe itakuambia uko aje. Kuna maswali ya depression, kama unakunywa pombe ungependa kujua kama unakunywa kupita kiasi, utajibu tu yale maswali. Alafu at the end you'll get a response that will give you the score and then the interpretation. Maybe they will give you like a number like a 27, alafu kwambie you're likely moderately depressed or extreme depression. Na itakwambia what you might do. Like utapatia hata even contact so you can reach out to us.
What's the website?
www.chiromohg.co.ke.
Chiromo HG.
Yeah, you can just type Chiromo Hospital Group on any search bar, and I think the first response will be our website.
Okay.
Yeah.
In conclusion, how to avoid depression?
I'll say something that is quite simple, something that I haven't mentioned because I've already answer that question to a very significant degree.
Yeah.
Something that we forget is that our bodies were made to exercise. We're supposed to move, but we've made our life so convenient where you have a car, you don't need to walk home right now.
Yeah.
But maybe 30 years ago, you'd walk to school.
Yeah.
So studies have actually found that when we were living in the caves, in the jungles, in the forests, we were walking on average about, as hunters and gatherers, for 30,000 steps a day. But the average person today is walking only 2,000 steps a day. So that is way less than what we should be, because we still have the same body, the same physical makeup as the hunters and gatherers, but we are exercising less. So exercise should be your foundation for your mental health. When you exercise every day from today, you're going to outlive a person that has a heart condition or diabetes that does not exercise. And for every hour that you exercise, you add one more hour to your lifespan. So that's how crucial exercise is. So for every hour, assuming that you don't get hit by a vehicle, so for every hour that you exercise, you're adding one more hour to your lifespan. So that's how crucial exercise is.
So 5 hours leo niko na 5 hours.
Uko na 5 hours zingine tayari. Lakini 5 hours ni excessive, utaumia.
Nani alipigia hesabu?
Studies, there's general consensus in literature.
Asante kwa kukam. We appreciate having you here and also the insights you've given us. Mafisi hapa wanauliza kama uko na mtu. Mapenzi Bape, Sheze Official, Felista Zelima anasema akona issue lakini ni watu wawili. Kama unaweza patana nyuma ya tent. Vinela anauliza namba yako personal. Merilina anauliza mbona upatiani namba.
Ikipeana namba sitaweza lala.
That's true. Use hallucination. Watakuhallucinate. Aya, thank you so much, Linus.
My pleasure.
All right, so thank you for watching that one. Up next, we are having the gentleman with the guns. That's true. Where's Grace? Yeah, so we have a gentleman who's going to be letting us know how to own a gun in Kenya. Why you should own a gun, Ama why you should not own a gun in Kenya. Is it good? Is it not good? Is it safe? Is it not safe? What happened in Westgate? How did they come through? What happened at Dusit? How did they come through? And also he's a master now. Why is he a master? Ni sharpshooter. And then mtu akuko KCC anamuone hapa kunendaje. How does this work? And also upatane na gun leo hapo tu nje umeokota gun. Unafanyaje? Ama ukote bullet. Plan what happens and also where can you go for training in case you want, because now there are a lot of people who think for you to own a gun you just have to be a police. You don't know that there's some safe spaces you can go there, utrainiwe, uenjoy na gani, ni wache gani yao, urudi mtaani hivyo. There are a lot of people who don't know that. We're going to be talking about that. Then also later on we're going to be having Teacher Wanjiko, and then also we're going to be having Mutu Mishi. I'm going to see you guys in a short while. Amaliza.